The porcelain vase explodes against the wall, barely missing Queenie's head. Sungmin stands frozen in the doorway, his expression carefully blank despite the rage coiling inside him. This isn't the first time he's witnessed his boss's temper, but something feels different tonight. Maybe it's the way Jae-woo's eyes hold a dangerous new coldness, or how Queenie's hands shake slightly as she kneels to gather the shards. Maybe it's the realization that Sungmin's hand has instinctively moved to his weapon, not to protect his boss of 20 years, but to protect her from him. In that moment, as their eyes meet across the room, both recognize an unspoken truth that changes everything. The fragile balance of their world has just begun to crack. You know that feeling when your loyalty to someone suddenly conflicts with what you know is right? That impossible choice that keeps you awake at night? If you've ever been torn between duty and doing what your heart tells you is right, you're going to want to stay for this entire story. It's about to get intense, and trust me, the ending will leave you speechless. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's dive deeper into how this all began. Jae-woo storms past Sungmin, brushing shoulders without acknowledgement. His footsteps fade down the hallway, followed by the slam of his office door. The compound falls into uneasy silence. Sungmin remains in the doorway, watching Queenie methodically collect porcelain fragments. Her expensive silk dress catches on a shard, but she doesn't seem to notice. The clock on the mantel reads 10:43 p.m. "Let me help," he says finally, stepping into the room. Queenie doesn't look up. "It's fine. I've got it." Despite her words, Sungmin crouches beside her, producing a handkerchief from his jacket pocket. Their fingers brush as she accepts it, a momentary contact that both acknowledge by pulling away too quickly. "This is the third this month," Sungmin says quietly, indicating the broken vase. "Fourth." Queenie's voice is steady, practiced. "The blue one in the hallway last Tuesday." Sungmin watches her carefully fold shards into the handkerchief. There's an efficiency to her movements, no wasted motion, no dramatic gestures. She's done this before, many times. "I wasn't here Tuesday," he says. "No. You were in Incheon." The fact that she's tracked his absence surprises him. Sungmin reaches for a larger fragment, noticing a thin line of blood on her palm where a shard has already cut her. "You're hurt." "It's nothing." She rises, moving to the waste bin by her desk. Her posture straightens, armor sliding back into place. "Did you need something from the chairman?" The formal title creates instant distance between them. Sungmin stands too, maintaining proper space. "Shipment reports." "They can wait." Queenie nods, moving to the cabinet where cleaning supplies are stored. The practiced way she retrieves them, knowing exactly which drawer, which products, tells its own story. "He wasn't always like this," Sungmin says, unsure why he's defending Jae-woo to his own wife. "I know. You've told me." Queenie's smile doesn't reach her eyes. The legendary brotherhood. 20 years of loyalty. The weight of those 20 years hits Sungmin as he watches her work. He remembers the day they met, two teenage boys in the rain, one hungry, one offering opportunity. Jae-woo had pulled him from nothing, taught him everything. Together they built the Golden Dragon Syndicate from street-level operations to a legitimate-seeming empire. Blood brothers in everything but actual relation. "We were different people then," Sungmin says quietly. Queenie pauses her cleaning, studying him. "People change. Power changes them faster." The moment stretches between them, too long, too understanding. Sungmin breaks eye contact first, checking his watch. "I should report in." "Of course." He's nearly at the door when Queenie speaks again. "Thank you. For the handkerchief." Something shifts in that simple acknowledgement. A boundary crossed, however slightly. Jae-woo's office smells of expensive whiskey and cigarettes. He sits behind his mahogany desk, reviewing documents in the dim light. "The Busan shipment needs handling," Jae-woo says without looking up, as if Sungmin had been standing there for hours rather than seconds. I can send Park's team. They handled the last 3 well. No. Jae-woo finally meets his eyes. You go personally. Tomorrow morning. It's an unusual request. Sungmin typically coordinates operations, not field work. The minister's dinner is tomorrow night. You'll need security. I'll manage. Jae-woo slides a folder across the desk. This takes priority. Sungmin accepts the folder, noting its unusual thinness. How long should I plan to stay? As long as needed. Jae-woo takes a slow sip of whiskey. A few days, perhaps a week. It seems there are too many distractions at home lately. The implication hangs in the air between them. 20 years of friendship suddenly feels paper-thin. I'll leave at dawn, Sungmin says, keeping his face carefully neutral. Jae-woo returns to his documents, dismissal clear. But as Sungmin reaches the door, his old friend speaks once more. She's just a wife, Min, remember what matters. The words follow him into the hallway like a shadow. Rain pelted the windshield as Sungmin drove into Busan's industrial port district. The gray morning matched his mood, 5 hours on the road with nothing but questions for company. He checked his watch, 10:17 a.m. The folder Jae-woo had given him contained almost nothing, just an address, a contact name, and vague references to inventory discrepancies. The shipping container yard was oddly quiet for a Tuesday. Kim Hyun-soo, the yard manager, greeted him with surprised deference. We weren't expecting the chairman's right hand for this, Kim said, leading him through rows of stacked containers. Just some missing documentation. Nothing requiring your attention, sir. Sungmin scanned the yard, noting the lack of urgency among workers. Show me the affected shipments. The crisis took less than an hour to resolve. A simple clerical error, already corrected by local staff before his arrival. Sungmin stood at the edge of the container yard, gazing at ships in the distance. The inescapable conclusion settled in his stomach like lead: he'd been sent away on purpose. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Unknown number. It's done, Sungmin answered tersely. Good, came Jae-woo's voice. Stay there. I need you to meet with our Busan partners. All of them. That will take days. Then it takes days. The line went dead. By 3 p.m., Sungmin had checked into the Marina Bay Hotel, a Golden Dragon-owned property where he could speak freely. From his 6th-floor window, he noticed a black Hyundai parked across the street, its occupant suspiciously motionless. When Sungmin left for his 4 p.m. meeting, the car pulled into traffic 3 vehicles behind. The tail was good, maintaining distance, switching positions, but not good enough. Not for someone trained by Sungmin himself. He completed his meeting with a local business partner, then took an unexpected turn down a narrow alleyway between restaurants. The black Hyundai couldn't follow. Doubling back through a kitchen where the owner nodded in recognition, Sungmin emerged behind the car, approaching the driver's side window. He rapped on the glass, watching the young man inside jump. Dong-hyun, one of Jae-woo's newer recruits. The window lowered nervously. If you're going to follow someone, Sungmin said calmly, don't choose a person who taught surveillance techniques to half the organization. Dong-hyun's face flushed. Sir, Inside. Now. Sungmin gestured to a small coffee shop. Seated in a corner booth, the young man fidgeted with his cup. He couldn't be more than 25, ambitious, eager to prove himself. Who sent you? Sungmin asked, though he already knew. The chairman, sir. To do what, exactly? Dong-hyun hesitated. To observe and report. Report what? Your meetings. Who you speak with. If you. The young man faltered. If I what? If you make any calls to the compound. Specifically to Mrs. Young. The confirmation should have surprised Sungmin, but it didn't. The game was clearer now. Have I? No, sir. Then your report should be very boring. Sungmin stood, dropping money on the table. If you're going to continue following me, at least be less obvious. It's embarrassing for both of us. Meanwhile, at the Young compound outside Seoul, Queenie stood in the empty hallway outside Jae-woo's office. 11:42 p.m. 3 hours since he'd left for his weekly card game. She turned the spare key over in her palm, listening for approaching footsteps. The office door opened silently. Inside, darkness except for moonlight through half-drawn blinds. She closed the door behind her and pulled out her phone for light. The safe behind the painting was her target, but without the combination. Her attention turned to the computer. Password protected, of course, but perhaps. A floorboard creaked behind her. Queenie whirled, heart pounding. Min Jun, Jae-woo's personal bodyguard, stood in the doorway. His broad frame blocked any escape route. Mrs. Young, he said, voice carefully neutral. Queenie straightened, mind racing for explanations. I was looking for Jae-woo's schedule. He mentioned a dinner I need to prepare for. Min Jun closed the door behind him. His face remained expressionless, but his eyes darted to the security camera in the corner. With deliberate movements, he reached up and adjusted its angle away from the desk. The chairman keeps his financial records in a hidden folder on the desktop, he said quietly. Password is his mother's birthday followed by yours. Queenie froze. Why would you? I've worked for the chairman for 8 years. I've seen the bruises. Min Jun moved to the door. You have 12 minutes before security rotates back to this camera. I never saw you. Before she could respond, he was gone. Queenie's fingers trembled as she entered the password. The screen illuminated with folders of financial data, evidence of transactions, hidden accounts, and something labeled contingency plans. In his Busan hotel room, Sungmin reviewed notes from his meetings. Nothing required his personal attention. Every issue could have been handled remotely. His phone buzzed with a message from Dong Hyun, chairman called. Asking if you've made contact with anyone from Seoul. Sungmin's jaw tightened. He was being tested, his loyalty questioned after 20 years without failure. His burner phone, the one not even Jae-woo knew about, vibrated on the nightstand. The message contained only an address and one line. Your room is bugged. Meet me in 20 minutes. It's about Mrs. Young. Sungmin stared at the message, weighing possibilities against risks. If this was a trap, walking into it would confirm Jae-woo's suspicions. If it wasn't. He quietly searched his room, finding the listening device tucked beneath the desk lamp. Amateur work. Leaving it in place, he grabbed his jacket and gun. The address led to a small pojangmaka, a street food tent where businessmen gathered after work. Inside, a familiar face waited at a corner table. Kang Min-suk, head of Golden Dragon's intelligence division. You've got a problem, Min-suk said as Sungmin sat down. The chairman's wife accessed restricted files tonight. Our security protocol automatically alerted him. He's returning to Seoul now, and he's furious. Why tell me this? Min-suk slid a soju glass toward him. Because he ordered me to monitor you, not her. Because in 20 years, you've never given anyone reason to doubt you. And because the last 3 men who angered the chairman this way disappeared. Sungmin's mind raced through implications. When did he leave? 30 minutes ago. He'll reach the compound by morning. The choice crystallized instantly. Sungmin stood. I need a faster car than the one I came in. Min-suk handed him keys. Black Audi in the back. Don't mention my name when he asks how you knew to return. Sungmin was already heading for the door, calculating the drive time to Seoul with growing urgency. 4 hours if he pushed it. Queenie had until dawn. The Golden Dragon compound glowed with warm light as Sungmin pulled through the gates at 8:43 p.m. He'd made the 4-hour drive in just over 3, pushing the Audi to its limits. Security guards exchanged surprised glances as he passed. Sir, the chairman didn't mention you'd return tonight, the head guard said. Last-minute change of plans. Inside, he heard the unmistakable sounds of a dinner party from the main dining room. Laughter, clinking glasses, the measured cadence of business being discussed over food. Sungmin straightened his tie and entered. 8 people sat around the large table laden with traditional dishes and expensive wine. At the head sat Jae-woo, mid-anecdote, with Queenie at his side in a deep red dress, looking every bit the perfect wife. The conversation halted. Jae-woo's smile froze. Min, he said, recovering quickly. What an unexpected surprise. The Busan matter resolved itself, Sungmin replied, bowing to the guests. I thought my time better spent here. He recognized the visitors, 3 government officials from the Trade Ministry, accompanied by their wives. High-value relationships for the organization's legitimate business fronts. Join us, Jae-woo gestured to an empty seat, his eyes communicating something entirely different. Queenie, have another place set. She rose gracefully, but Jae-woo caught her wrist as she passed. To the others, it appeared affectionate. Sungmin noticed her slight wince. Don't forget the 82 wine in the cellar, Jae-woo said quietly. The one I told you never to touch. Her eyes flickered momentarily before she nodded. The dinner proceeded with practiced civility. Sungmin answered questions about Busan's shipping industry while watching the interplay between husband and wife. When Queenie returned with the wine, hands steady despite what must have been a thinly veiled threat, Jae-woo became overly attentive, refilling glasses, hand lingering on her shoulder. To successful partnerships, Jae-woo toasted, looking directly at Sungmin. As glasses clinked, Queenie's hand trembled. Red wine spilled across her dress, drawing gasps from the guests. I'm so sorry, she said, already standing. Please excuse me. Min, assist my wife, Jae-woo commanded. I'll entertain our guests. In the hallway, Sungmin kept appropriate distance as they walked toward her quarters. You shouldn't have come back early, she said once they were alone. You accessed his files last night. Queenie stopped walking. How did you know? The system alerted him. He was on his way back this morning. Then why is he here hosting dinner instead? I don't know. But something's changed. Sungmin lowered his voice. Why did you risk it? She resumed walking, speaking without looking at him. I needed leverage. Protection. From Jae-woo? From what I owe him. They reached her door. My father died with gambling debts to the Golden Dragon. Marriage was my repayment plan. And now? Now I realize debts to men like him are never truly repaid. Her eyes met his. Whatever you came back to prevent has already happened. He knows. When they returned to the dining room 15 minutes later, Queenie in a fresh dress, they found Minister Park speaking quietly with Jae-woo in the corner. The words financial investigation and customs audit drifted across the room before conversation abruptly ceased. The evening ended at 11:30 p.m. Sungmin retired to his quarters within the compound, surprised he hadn't been confronted directly. Perhaps tomorrow would bring clarity. His phone buzzed at exactly 2 a.m. A text message from Jae-woo. My study. Now. Come alone. Jae-woo's private study smelled of leather and gun oil. 2:07 a.m., and the only light came from a single desk lamp. Jae-woo sat in his high-backed chair, methodically disassembling a handgun. He didn't look up when Sungmin entered. Close the door, Jae-woo said. Sungmin did so, remaining standing. The grandfather clock in the corner ticked loudly in the silence. Do you remember the winter we spent in that warehouse in Incheon? Jae-woo asked, wiping the barrel with a cloth. No heat, barely any food. Just us against everyone. I remember, Sungmin said carefully. You killed a man for me that winter. You're first. Jae-woo looked up, his face half in shadow. And I told you something afterward. Do you recall what it was? That once you spill blood for someone, you're bound to them forever. Jae-woo nodded, reassembling the gun with practiced movements. 20 years. Nearly half our lives. He set the weapon down. So why don't you tell me why you're really back from Busan? The question hung between them. Sungmin kept his face neutral. The shipment issue was resolved faster than expected. I thought my time better spent here, with the minister's visit. Interesting. Jae-woo leaned back. Because I specifically instructed you to meet with all our Busan partners. That would take days. I prioritized. The most critical meetings were completed. You prioritized. Jae-woo's laugh held no warmth. Tell me, what made you think my wife needed your protection? The direct question surprised Sungmin. He'd expected more circling. I don't understand. Don't insult me. Jae-woo stood, moving to the liquor cabinet. Kang Min-suk called you, didn't he? Told you Queenie accessed my files? Sungmin weighed his options quickly. Denying would be futile. Yes. And you drove through the night, breaking speed limits, to get here before me. Jae-woo poured 2 glasses of whiskey. Why? To protect the organization. If she found sensitive information. Don't. Jae-woo cut him off, handing him a glass. Not you. Not after everything. Their eyes met over the rims of their glasses. 20 years of trust, cracking like thin ice. She's your wife, Sungmin said finally. I thought you'd want to handle the situation yourself, not have your security team discover it first. My wife. Jae-woo swirled his drink. An interesting way to phrase it. For hours, they circled each other with words. Jae-woo reminisced about their shared past while probing for weaknesses. Sungmin parried with careful answers, neither confirming suspicions nor offering denials that would be obvious lies. Outside, the sky gradually lightened. 5:32 a.m. I have a new assignment for you, Jae-woo said finally. The Zhang organization is encroaching on our territory in Taejun. You'll meet with old man Zhang tomorrow to negotiate boundaries. Sungmin kept his face carefully blank. The last 3 men sent to negotiate with Zhang had disappeared or returned in body bags. Zhang doesn't negotiate. He eliminates problems. Then don't be a problem. Jae-woo replaced his gun in the desk drawer. Leave at noon. And Min? Yes? If anything happens to you, I'll make sure Queenie is well taken care of. The threat was unmistakable in his tone. Sungmin bowed slightly, maintaining the pretense of normalcy. I've always trusted you with what matters most. By 6:15 a.m., Sungmin was in the security room. The night guard had stepped out for coffee, giving him 3 minutes. He quickly accessed the surveillance system, checking which cameras had recently been activated. The screen showed a new feed, Queenie's private sitting room, bedroom, even her bathroom. All activated yesterday, with footage being sent directly to Jae-woo's personal server. The guard's footsteps approached. Sungmin cleared the screen and walked out, nodding casually as they passed in the doorway. In the privacy of his car, he sat motionless. The brotherhood that defined his life had fractured beyond repair. And he had exactly 5 hours to warn Queenie before leaving for what was almost certainly a suicide mission. The Zhang family restaurant seemed too ordinary for a feared crime boss. Simple wooden tables, family photos on walls, elderly waiters shuffling between kitchen and dining room. Sungmin arrived at precisely 7 p.m., scanning for guards. He counted 4, disguised as diners but betrayed by their watchful eyes. Old man Zhang sat alone in the back corner, a frail figure with wispy white hair. At 76, he had survived 3 assassination attempts and outlived 2 generations of rivals. Sungmin, Zhang greeted him in Korean, gesturing to the seat across. I've waited years to meet Jae-woo's shadow. Sungmin bowed respectfully before sitting. Mr. Zhang. You expected not to leave here alive, Zhang stated matter-of-factly, pouring tea. Yet you came anyway. I follow orders. Even when they're meant to eliminate you? Zhang's eyes, sharp despite his age, studied Sung-min. Your loyalty is remarkable. A waiter placed food between them, simple dishes, nothing elaborate. Zhang ate slowly, watching Sung-min take cautious bites. Your boss has been making concerning moves, Zhang said finally. Partnering with the Black Lotus Group from Shenzhen. Sung-min kept his expression neutral despite his surprise. The Black Lotus was known for extreme violence, human trafficking, and destabilizing established organizations. I wasn't aware of any partnership. No, you weren't. Zhang's voice softened. 3 months ago, Jae-woo began moving assets. Last month, he met with their leadership without informing his lieutenants. Including you. Sung-min set down his chopsticks. Why tell me this? Because chaos serves no one's interests. Because your boss is not the man he once was. Zhang slid an envelope across the table. And because unlike the last 3 men he sent, you've earned respect. The envelope contained photos of Jae-woo meeting with known Black Lotus members. Dates, locations, bank transfers. Keep it, Zhang said. I have copies. The hotel room door was already unlocked when Sung-min arrived at 9:42 p.m. He drew his gun before entering. Min-jun, Jae-woo's bodyguard, sat calmly in the desk chair. I could have shot you, Sung-min said, lowering his weapon. But you didn't. Min-jun stood. We don't have much time. Why are you here? For Queenie. Min-jun's formal demeanor cracked slightly. We grew up together in Gangnam. When she married Jae-woo to settle her father's debts, I joined his security team to watch over her. The revelation shifted Sung-min's understanding. Does he know? No. And it needs to stay that way. Min-jun produced a USB drive. This contains evidence of Jae-woo's dealings for the past year. Financial records, illegal transactions, recorded threats. Insurance for her safety. Sung-min took the drive, questions multiplying. Why give this to me? Because she trusts you. And because something's wrong with him. Min-jun moved toward the door. He's changed. Become erratic, dangerous. The staff has noticed. And Queenie? Is in more danger than she realizes. Min-jun paused at the door. Check the drive. Especially the medical files. Meanwhile, at the compound, Queenie carefully replaced the false bottom in Jae-woo's desk drawer. Her hands trembled as she processed what she'd discovered. The medical report was dated 3 months ago. Terms like glioblastoma and frontal lobe jumped from the page. Phrases including personality changes, increased aggression, and paranoia were highlighted. Treatment options showed dismal survival rates, 6 to 8 months without intervention, 12 to 14 with aggressive treatment. A note in Jae-woo's handwriting marked the margin, tell no one. Not even Min. Footsteps in the hallway sent her scrambling to return everything to its place. As she slipped from the office, the full weight of her discovery settled in her stomach. The man she'd married was dying. And the disease was eating away not just his body, but his mind. Uedo Park bustled with afternoon joggers and families. 3:17 p.m. on a Thursday, busy enough to blend in but open enough to spot anyone following them. Sung-min sat on a bench facing the Han River, appearing to anyone watching like a businessman taking a break. Queenie arrived 12 minutes later, dressed casually in jeans and a light jacket, hair tucked under a cap. She sat beside him, maintaining a proper distance, gaze fixed on the water. Were you followed? Sung-min asked, not looking at her. I switched taxis twice and walked the last half kilometer. She adjusted her sunglasses. You? Clean. We have maybe 15 minutes before it looks suspicious. Wind rustled through cherry blossoms overhead, petals drifting between them. A child's laughter carried from the nearby playground. Jae-woo is dying, Queenie said quietly. Brain tumor. Terminal. Though Sung Min had suspected something from Min Jun's hint, the confirmation still landed like a blow. How long? The report said 6 to 8 months. That was 3 months ago. She kept her voice steady. It's affecting his frontal lobe, causing personality changes, paranoia, aggression. That explains some things. Sung Min pulled out his phone, scrolling through photos casually as if showing vacation pictures. But not everything. The screen showed documents from the USB, bank transfers, meeting logs, property purchases in foreign names. He's been moving money offshore for months. Properties in Malaysia, accounts in Singapore. Sung Min swiped to another document. And he's formed an alliance with Black Lotus. Queenie's breath caught. The trafficking group? The same. And there's something else. He showed her the final document. The minister's investigation isn't random. Jae-woo's been tipped off. He's preparing to abandon ship. And leave everyone else to drown. Queenie's hands tightened around her purse. Including me. Including all of us. Their eyes met briefly, a moment of shared understanding passing between them. What do we do? She asked. Before Sung Min could answer, his phone buzzed. The caller ID showed headquarters. Min, he answered. The voice on the other end was panicked. Sir, the chairman collapsed during a meeting. They've taken him to Seoul Medical Center. He's asking for you. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and fear. 4:46 p.m. Sung Min and Queenie arrived separately, she by official car, he 10 minutes later by taxi. Outside Jae-woo's private room, doctors spoke in hushed tones about seizure activity and increased intracranial pressure. Inside, machines beeped steadily. Jae-woo looked smaller somehow against the white sheets. His eyes, however, were clear and sharp when they opened. Both of you came, he said, voice stronger than his appearance suggested. Good. Queenie moved to his bedside, taking his hand with practiced devotion. The doctors say you'll be fine with rest. Doctors say many things. Jae-woo's gaze shifted to Sung Min. I need the red folder from my safe. The one behind the painting. Of course. The combination is the day we met. 20 years ago. Something unreadable flickered in Jae-woo's expression. You remember the date, don't you, brother? December 17th. The day that had changed both their lives. Jae-woo nodded, then turned to Queenie. I need to speak with my wife alone. Sung Min bowed, moving toward the door. As he reached it, he glanced back. Queenie's eyes met his over Jae-woo's bed, a look that communicated everything they couldn't say aloud. Fear. Warning. A plea. The door closed between them, leaving Sung Min in the hallway with the weight of 20 years of brotherhood in one hand and a USB drive full of betrayal in the other. The compound stood unusually quiet when Sung Min arrived at 6:12 p.m. Security cameras tracked his movements across the courtyard, red lights blinking in silent observation. Jae-woo's office remained as he'd left it that morning, papers arranged with military precision, leather chair pushed exactly 20 centimeters from the desk. Sung Min moved to the landscape painting on the eastern wall, swinging it open to reveal the safe behind. December 17th. The day everything began. His fingers dialed the combination, 1-7-1-2. The safe clicked open. Inside, organized folders lined the interior. The red one sat prominently in front, labeled simply, contingency. As Sung Min reached for it, something else caught his eye, a black folder marked with his own name. He shouldn't look. The mission was clear, retrieve the red folder, return to the hospital. Yet his hand moved of its own accord, pulling out the folder bearing his name. The first page contained a detailed map of the Busan shipping yard with security camera placements highlighted. Notes in Jae-woo's handwriting marked specific times. The supposed crisis had been manufactured from the beginning. The second document outlined surveillance protocols, for him. His phone had been cloned, his movements tracked for the past month. Then came the photos. Sung-min helping Queenie from a car. Sung-min passing her a cup of tea during a business meeting. Mundane, innocent moments captured at angles that suggested intimacy. Each marked with dates, times, locations. The final page was a medical report, not Jae-woo's, but results from tests run on himself and Queenie without their knowledge. Blood panels, health screenings, compatibility analyses. The purpose became clear with the last notation: succession planning. Jae-woo hadn't just been testing him. He'd been evaluating him. The sound of car engines interrupted his thoughts. Through the window, Sung-min watched 3 black SUVs pull into the compound. Men emerged, faces he recognized from their own security team, but movements too tense, too purposeful. The hospital collapse had been another test. And Sung-min had walked directly into it. He grabbed both folders and moved toward the door, only to hear footsteps approaching in the hallway. 4 sets, minimum. Heavy, deliberate. Check the office first, came a voice. Park Jin-ho, head of security operations. Sung-min assessed his options rapidly. 3 exits, door, window, connecting bathroom. All would lead to confrontation. The door handle turned. Glass shattered as Sung-min crashed through the garden-facing window, rolling to absorb impact. Shouts erupted behind him. The first gunshot tore through the air as he sprinted toward the perimeter wall. Take him alive. Jin-ho shouted. Sung-min reached the garage, ducking between vehicles. Blood trickled down his arm where glass had cut deep. He needed transportation, needed distance. The motorcycle keys hung on their usual hook. He grabbed them, gunning the engine as figures appeared in the doorway. More shots. Pain exploded in his left shoulder. The bike wobbled but didn't falter as he crashed through the side gate, leaving chaos behind. On the highway, blood soaked through his jacket. His phone had been left behind in the scramble, no way to warn Queenie. Each kilometer toward the hospital sent fresh pain through his shoulder. The folders were secured inside his jacket, pressed against his chest like armor. Evidence of betrayal wrapped in the legacy of brotherhood. At a red light, Sung-min checked his wound. The bullet had passed through muscle, missing bone and major vessels. Survivable, but debilitating. His vision blurred at the edges as blood loss took its toll. The hospital appeared ahead, its emergency lights pulsing like a warning. Sung-min parked the motorcycle haphazardly, pressing a hand to his shoulder to stem the bleeding. Inside, he found Jae-woo's room empty. Both Jae-woo and Queenie were gone. A nurse approached, alarmed at his appearance. Sir, you're bleeding. The patient in this room, Sung-min interrupted. Where is he? Mr. Young? The nurse blinked in confusion. He checked himself out 20 minutes ago. Against medical advice. Sung-min staggered back against the wall, leaving a smear of blood. The trap hadn't just closed, it had already sprung. The old warehouse in Incheon loomed against the night sky, abandoned and forgotten except by 2 men who had once found shelter within its walls. 9:38 p.m. Sung-min's motorcycle sputtered to a stop outside, the journey having depleted both its fuel and his strength. His shoulder throbbed with each heartbeat, blood seeping through his makeshift bandage. This was where it had begun 20 years ago, 2 teenagers huddled against winter cold, planning an empire while sharing the last of their food. Now it would be where everything ended. Jae-woo's car sat parked near the rusted entrance. No security detail, no additional vehicles. Whatever would happen here was meant to stay between them. Inside, emergency lights cast long shadows across empty concrete floors. Footsteps echoed from the second level, the office space where they had once slept on cardboard mattresses. Sung-min climbed the metal stairs slowly, each step sending fresh pain through his wounded shoulder. The folders remained tucked inside his jacket, damp with his blood. Voices drifted from behind a partially open door. You never understood what we were building, Jae-woo was saying. What it cost us. What it required. I understand more than you think. Queenie's voice remained steady despite the tension audible beneath. The medical reports, Jae-woo. Why didn't you tell anyone? Sung-min pushed the door open with his good arm. The room contained only a metal desk, 2 chairs, and the remains of the life they'd once lived, a tattered map of Seoul marked with their first territories, a stack of moldering ledgers. Jae-woo stood by the window, gun held casually at his side. Queenie sat in one of the chairs, her posture rigid but unafraid. Finally, Jae-woo said, turning. Our triangle is complete. Blood loss made the room shift slightly under Sung-min's feet. Let her go. This is between us. Nothing is just between us anymore. Jae-woo's eyes narrowed at Sung-min's wound. You fought your way out. As expected. You set me up. I tested you. Jae-woo gestured with the gun. As I've been testing both of you for months. Queenie's eyes found Sung-min's injury, concern breaking through her composed expression. You're hurt. It's nothing. Sung-min took a careful step forward. Jae-woo, you're not thinking clearly. The tumor. Don't. Jae-woo's voice hardened. Don't reduce this to biology. I've watched you both. Seen the looks. The concern. The betrayal building day by day. There was no betrayal, Sung-min said. Wasn't there? Jae-woo laughed without humor. The great Sung-min, my shadow for 20 years, rushing back from Busan not to protect the organization, but to protect my wife. To protect both of you. From what? Jae-woo moved closer. From the consequences of your feelings for her? Or from what I might do when I discovered them? The room fell silent except for the distant sound of waves against the harbor. The tumor is affecting your judgment, Queenie said softly. The doctors explained the symptoms: paranoia, irrational anger, suspicion. Convenient diagnosis. Jae-woo raised the gun, pointing it casually in her direction. Tell me, Min. If I asked you to prove your loyalty right now by putting a bullet in her, would you do it? The question hung in the air between them. 20 years of brotherhood, of shared blood and secrets, balanced against something newer, less defined, but no less powerful. No, Sung-min said simply. Something shifted in Jae-woo's eyes, pain, understanding, perhaps even relief. Then you've made your choice. The gun steadied, aimed now directly at Queenie. So have I. Without hesitation, Sung-min moved, placing himself between the gun and Queenie. Blood dripped from his fingers onto the concrete floor, marking his position. If you want her, he said quietly, you go through me first. 20 years dissolved in that moment, brotherhood replaced by the simple clarity of protection. Jae-woo's hand trembled slightly, the first uncertainty he'd shown. After everything we built, Jae-woo whispered. This is how it ends? It doesn't have to end at all. Sung-min kept his voice calm despite the room beginning to spin around him. Put the gun down. Let us help you. Help me? Jae-woo's laugh turned into something closer to a sob. I'm already dead, brother. The only question is how many I take with me. Sung-min felt blood soaking through his shirt as he stood between Queenie and the gun. The warehouse's emergency lights flickered, casting Jae-woo's face in alternating shadow and harsh illumination. 10:17 p.m. Outside, the wind had picked up, whistling through broken windows. You're losing too much blood, Queenie said from behind him, voice low with concern. Jae-woo's gun remained steady despite the visible tremor in his arm. Always the protector, Min. Even when it means betraying me. I never betrayed you. Sung-min's vision blurred at the edges. But I won't let you hurt her. Something shifted in Jae-woo's expression, a flicker of the man he'd been before illness and power corrupted him. The gun lowered slightly. The doctors gave me 6 months. Jae-woo's voice quieted. Last week, they revised it to weeks. The treatments failed. We could have faced this together, Sung-min said. Why push us away? Because I needed to know. Jae-woo moved to the desk, steadying himself against it. When I'm gone, who would protect what matters? Understanding dawned on Sungmin. This was a test. Everything is a test in our world. Jae-woo's laugh held no humor. The money transfers, the surveillance, the impossible assignments. I needed to see what you would choose when forced to decide. And if I had chosen wrong? Then she would have been alone after I died. Jae-woo's eyes moved to Queenie. I never loved you the way you deserved. I know that now. Queenie stepped beside Sungmin, her hand finding his. And the Black Lotus? The deals that would destroy everything you built? Insurance. Jae-woo set the gun on the desk. This disease, it changes you. Makes you paranoid, cruel. Some days I recognize what I've become. Other days. He trailed off, staring at his trembling hands. In the distance, sirens wailed, growing closer. Min-jun, Queenie whispered in recognition. Jae-woo pulled a small notebook from his jacket. Access codes. Offshore accounts in Macau, Singapore, Malaysia. Enough to disappear, to start over. He slid it across the desk. Take it. Both of you. Sungmin didn't move. Jae-woo. We built an empire on blood and fear, Jae-woo interrupted. I've become the very thing we once fought against. The kind of man who would kill his brother over suspicion. He looked up, eyes suddenly clear. I won't be that man in whatever time I have left. The sirens stopped outside the warehouse. Car doors slammed. You need to go, Jae-woo said. Now. Through the loading dock. Sungmin picked up the notebook with his good hand, but hesitated. What about you? I'll handle the police. Jae-woo straightened his jacket, dignity returning to his posture. One last service to the Brotherhood. Heavy footsteps echoed from the first floor. Go, Jae-woo commanded. Then, softer, take care of her, brother. Queenie moved to Jae-woo, pressing a gentle kiss to his cheek. Thank you. As they slipped through the back exit, Sungmin glanced back one final time. Jae-woo stood framed in the doorway, shoulders squared, facing his end with the same determination with which he had built his beginning. 3 months later, a small tea shop in Jeju Island. Ocean breeze carried the scent of salt through open windows. Sungmin's shoulder had healed, leaving only a star-shaped scar as reminder. Queenie set a letter on the table between them. The envelope bore no return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable. It came this morning, she said. Sungmin watched her open it, noting how the tension she'd carried for so long had finally eased from her shoulders. He's gone, she said after scanning the contents. Last week. On his own terms. The letter trembled slightly in her hands as she continued reading. He says he's made arrangements to keep the Black Lotus away from us. And that. Her voice caught. That he hopes we build something better than he could. Sungmin reached across the table, his hand covering hers. No words needed. Outside, tourists and locals passed by their window, unaware of the former right-hand man of Seoul's most powerful crime boss and his wife sharing a quiet moment of grief and possibility. The price of their freedom had been paid in full. Not with money, but with the end of a brotherhood that had defined 2 decades of life. And with the beginning of something neither had dared imagine, a future built on choice rather than obligation, on respect rather than fear. Queenie folded the letter, tucking it away. What now? Sungmin looked out at the ocean stretching endlessly before them. Now we live. And that's how loyalty, duty, and the courage to stand up for what's right can change everything. If this story resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button right now to never miss our weekly stories about impossible choices and the strength it takes to make them. Drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what part of the story hit you the hardest. Your support means everything, and I can't wait to share more stories that make you feel something real. Until next time.